Africa's largest hydropower project, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, or GERD, has gone live. The plant, which took 14 years to build, at, get this, an estimated cost of almost $5 billion, sits on the Blue Nile in Africa's second most populous nation. It's designed to generate just over 15,700 gigawatt hours annually. That's enough electricity to light up Ethiopia and send surplus power across East Africa. Now, for Addis Ababa, this is a national milestone, and yet its construction hasn't been without contention. Now, downstream in Egypt and Sudan, they remain uneasy and warn of drought risks. And Cairo, which depends on the Nile for the bulk of its water, is still pressing for a legally binding deal on how the dam is operated and filled. Meanwhile, Washington is closely watching developments. President Trump claimed the dam will substantially reduce water flowing into the Nile. But Ethiopia is hoping the dam will help power the next phase of the country's ambitious development plans. And they're targeting almost $500 million in revenue from power exports in the current fiscal year, which runs through to July.
For more, we're now joined by Bloomberg's Fasika Tadesse, who attended the dam's launch. Fasika, thanks so much for joining us. Talk about what kind of economic impact Ethiopia is hoping to see from this project after so many years. Is the government eyeing specific sectors or growth targets for the long run?
Yes, Jane. So the government is hoping to see several or quite a couple of economic impacts that could be brought by the dam. The first one is industrialization. So the industry sector, which accounts about 30% of the economy, is growing at an annual 10% rate. And then parallelly, the energy demand from the industry sector is growing, but by 40% on a yearly basis. So the government hopes to fill this growing demand from the electricity generated by the dam. The second one is export. And recently, the Prime Minister said the GERD could help the country to generate $1 billion a year. So when we see this figure in a context in the past fiscal year, the Ethiopia in total generated like $8 billion from commodity exports. This means a huge amount of money that Ethiopia expects to get from the dam. And currently, Ethiopia is exporting power to Djibouti, Kenya, and Tanzania. So during the inauguration ceremony, the leaders from those countries were saying that they are keen to buy more power from Ethiopia. The third aspect is the Bitcoin mining. So recently, Bitcoin companies, mining companies, especially those from China, made Ethiopia a destination. And so far, Ethiopia has 25 operational Bitcoin mining companies that are connected to the national grid, because since Bitcoin mining is a power-intensive industry, so 20 more companies are on the pipeline to get connected to the national grid and get power from Ethiopia. So that's also the other benefit Ethiopia is hoping. And the fourth one is increasing the national electricity coverage. So with 130 million population, half of Ethiopia's population, especially living in the rural area, are not getting power because of transmission line infrastructure unavailability. So the government hopes to use the revenue generated from the export of power to build the infrastructure and connect those people with no power into the national grid and get power supply.
So quite a few proposed benefits domestically. If we think about internationally, though, the construction has been quite controversial and also been cause for quite a bit of contention. What is the latest with that and with some of the disputes that we've seen about this dam from some of these other regional actors?
Yeah, Jen, as you said, there is a diplomatic rift or tension between Ethiopia and the downstream countries, specifically Egypt and Sudan. Since 2015, the three countries signed a declaration of principle and to start a negotiation on how to operate the dam and also the water filling of the dam. So apparently, the three countries have been the negotiations back and forth between the three countries, but the negotiation couldn't bear fruits. And even third parties like the US and Saudi Arabia tried to mediate the three countries, but still no agreements have been reached on that aspect. So the negotiation started before the dam is completed and the reservoir started catching water, but still no agreements, and the reservoir caught about 74 billion cubic meters of water, which sparked a fear from the Egyptian side, saying it will significantly reduce water flow to Egypt. So, saying that Ethiopia completed and officially inaugurated the dam, and Egypt was not happy with that. And recently they said they will be appealing to the UN Security Council for action. But Ethiopia didn't give a response to that. But during the inauguration ceremony, the Prime Minister was saying Ethiopia is still to continue the negotiation with the two countries, and the country doesn't have an intention to harm those countries. So no official response from the government on the dispute they are having with Egypt and Sudan.